Hello and welcome to Manny Bass Tutorials. This is Manny Bass, your #1 bass teacher. Today I'm going to teach you a little bit about the slapping technique. So let's first provide a little demonstration. All right, that was fun. Okay, so what exactly am I doing? Well, slapping is made up of two parts. There is the slapping or thumping part, which we produce with hitting the strings with the side of our thumb, right? And then there's the popping part where we use our index and middle finger to pop or pull on the strings, okay? So now, I want to talk about the mechanics behind it. This is what I'm doing. I'm doing this, okay? This is all I'm doing. I'm thumping and then popping. It should be a fluid motion, right? So you see, I'm not doing this, okay? You don't want to move your forearm. It's just your wrist, a slight movement of your wrist. Now I want you to notice something. I'm not really striking the string with a lot of force. It's a very light force, all right? Okay, you don't want to hit it too hard, because the harder you hit it, the farther away your hand or your thumb is going to move from the fretboard. And we want to have what we call economy of motion. Economy of motion is just a fancy way of saying we want to move the smallest distance away from the fretboard as possible. The farther away you move from the fretboard, the longer it'll take for you to go back to the fretboard. Okay, you don't want that. You want a very slight movement so that you are ready to strike again. That allows you to play faster and cleaner, okay? So, economy of motion, and we don't want to use too much force, okay? Now, what about position? Where do I strike the fretboard? Well, usually down here, okay? Not here. You don't want to do it here. You can, but you kind of want to do it here. This is like the sweet spot where you get that nice, even sound, okay? Okay, now, what about exercises? What exercises should you practice to develop your technique? Well, the most useful one, I think, will be octaves, okay? So you want to just, do octaves. Up and down the fretboard. Do it slow at first. The important thing is to get a nice, clean sound. All right, so do that. You can also do fifths. Okay, so like anything else in life, it's going to be a little hard at first, but the more you try, the better you get at it. And unfortunately, if you've never done it before, or if you don't normally dig into your bass, you're going to get blisters, or your fingertips might be a little tender for the first 2 or 3 days. But after that, you will be fine. I can play, bass for hours and I don't get any, blisters, because I've been doing it for a while. So you're warned, okay? The first day is going to be a little bit of a problem. Keep doing octaves, fifths. And then the next thing you should do, play scales, but with your thumb only, okay? At first, you might miss the string, but the more you do it, it will just become automatic, see? All right, major scale, do your minor scale. You just want to get used to using your thumb, okay? And again, do it slow and then speed it up little by little. Now, the next thing you should do is thump 2 times, slap once. So you can also alternate as you do this. You can alternate between your index and your middle. You don't have to, but you can. Okay? All right. Now this can get boring quickly. So what you want to do when you practice, make it musical, right? If you're going to practice something, don't just stand there like a zombie. No, make it fun. Right? Have fun when you do it. Okay, so we thump 2 times, pop once. Then change it. Thump once and pop it 2 times. Right? Have fun as you do it. Then thump 2 times, pop 2 times. All right? And it gets easier the more you do it, okay? So just keep doing that. Now, something that's crucial to your slapping technique is using hammer-on and pull-offs. What exactly are hammer-ons? Well, hammer-on is when you play one note using your right hand, right? You strike it, right, with your right hand. And then the second note you play is produced entirely with your left hand only. So for example, you see? I didn't use my right hand the second time. Okay? So do the same thing when you're slapping. You can either use your pinky or your ring finger. Also, you can, just do it a semitone away. But you're going to use this a lot. Like what I was doing in the beginning, I was using a lot of hammer-ons. See, I used it a lot. Why am I using this? If you don't use hammer-ons, you're gonna work twice as hard. Because like, see that part I did there? Right? I will have to do, and it's gonna be too much work. But if I do it, it's much easier. So use hammer-ons, okay? You can develop the strength for it if you're new by just doing this. I'm exaggerating, by the way, here. I don't normally have my hand like this too much. And as I said, you can also use your pinky. So you want to develop that strength so that it sounds clear. All right? Now there's the pull-off. The pull-off is when you play a note, right? And then you lift your finger, but you have another finger already fretting the next note, okay? So we call that a pull-off. Some people, when they do a pull-off, what they do is they'll slap, right, with the right hand, and then they'll see what I'm doing here? I'm sort of like playing the note with this finger, and then I'm lifting it. You can do it that way too. Or you could just lift your finger. If you do it just lifting your finger, it's not going to be as loud as if you were to do that. See, you get a louder sound. All right? So you put these 3, actually more than 3, right? If you put these things together, you'll be able to start performing things that are a bit more difficult. So this is an exercise you can do. Another thing you can do, just all right. Now, another thing that I like to do a lot is to sort of produce a little triplet sound. I'll put my middle and index finger on 2 strings, and I'll just pop almost simultaneously. Not quite simultaneously, but almost simultaneously, and then thump. You see, you get that little like little shotgun or well, not shotgun, Uzi sound, which is very useful. Or okay. Okay? So keep practicing that too. And And your ghost notes are also important. What exactly are ghost notes? Well, it's when you use your right hand, but you don't fret with your left. You just have your fretting hand over the strings without pushing down. You just have it over the string, and you get that nice muted sound. This is something that you're also going to use a bit when you're slapping. All right. So, one thing in conclusion that you want to keep in mind when you're playing slap is your action. Action is the distance between your strings and the fretboard. I have a Ken Smith bass. These basses are usually set up really well where the action isn't too high. But if you're playing a bass where the strings are very far away from the fretboard, it becomes very difficult to slap. I've played before in basses that weren't set up properly, and I couldn't slap. Like, I just couldn't get a nice sound out of it, a good popping sound, because the strings were too high. Okay, so make sure that your action is set just right. If you don't know how to set your action, just send it to a luthier or to one of those stores and tell them that you want your action not too low but not too high, just right. So finally, don't forget to visit my website, mannybass.com. I'm going to include some files with some exercises you can use to improve your slapping, as well as some recommendations for books that I think are very helpful if you want to get deeper into the slapping technique. So thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. Manny Bass.